So Octave, thank you for joining us on episode 3 of Heroic Play. And we've got the same lineup, which is Kevin, Andrew, and Octave, our local pundit.
Yeah.
Oh, go for it. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Octave. I'm the local pundit here for the Southern California Meta.
And champion.
Well, no, this is not. We'll get into this later. This is not a true Kingdom Cup.
Really?
It's called a Precursor Cup.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they're a little different. As you can see, mine's all like they get beat up.
And I'm going to put a plug to that event. It's coming out March 6th.
3rd.
March
3rd.
Which is a Sunday.
Weird.
Right, I was thinking that
Pre-errata finale.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So then, Octave, I'll be taking a back seat because I'm not very good at Alchemists. I tried playing them for a little bit and I failed.
Played against them times.
Quite a lot. I can tell you that all ball is very nasty. But in your mind, if you were, let's say, a new player was watching this right now,
Okay.
how would you explain and sell Alchemists to them?
Okay. Well, I would say Alchemists rely on a completely separate mechanic, which is the condition mechanic. So with every other team, you're dealing with influence versus momentum, and you're trying to gain efficiencies there. Whereas conditions is a third sort of system that exists outside of this.
Yeah.
It can be a resource specifically in Alchemist, and it opens up this team to a lot of different styles of play. Now, traditionally, people will tell you that Alchemists are a goal-scoring team, and that still is the backbone of the team. But these days, the playstyles have opened wide up, where you can really become a takeout-focused team, and the skill ceiling for Alchemists is pretty high. So, but you can come in on a fairly there are some good sort of opening starter teams to get used to. How do you manage your conditions? How do you manage basic things like setting up your goals? And then your takeout game it's just different. You might think it's attrition based, and it kind of is. It's a slower, it's a more patient game, but also you have certain pieces which really open up like burst damage and takeouts, and you can get clusters of takeout. Which is really kind of the newer design space of where Alchemists are. They used to be, it used to really be a slower game, and people played a lot of denial, and you can still do that, but these days the way, and I think this is kind of shaped by how the Alchemist community likes to play, where there are other folks that really wanted to play a more up-tempo game, and so you can still play that. So I don't know if I helped at all.
That is perfect. Alchemists really do have that sort of like extra sauce when it comes to, it's not just influence, momentum, now you're managing your conditions.
Yeah.
Because there's so many like free things you can do by just either putting a condition on yourself or removing it from an enemy.
Right.
Yeah, and so talking about teams that you would recommend for beginners, what captain would you recommend for a beginner?
Well, right now, I would say the captain you would probably want to start with would be Midas. That's my choice. You can start with Soma.
You can.
You can. Soma's more of like, it's really more learning the timing of your game. Soma's really based on understanding the tempo of the game and when to make that big critical decision to go to Numa. But if you're just opening up, you're starting to learn the game, you can start with Midas. But I would warn you too, Midas is the most changed character in the history of Guild Ball.
Yeah, that's true. Like
his playstyle has changed so dramatically that, but still, he's always remained kind of like, this is a nice. He's at his core, he's a nice striker captain, but his ability to change the board state without people realizing it is really strong. And so he's my favorite captain.
I would say Alchemists are kind of in this unique space where they have 3 great captains that have 3 different play styles, like really completely. Where I feel like there's other teams that have like 3 great captains. Like I would say Hunters have 3 great captains, but Theron and Steeljaw kind of fill that same design space where they're trying to control their opponent. But Alchemists, you can play like Super KG Smoke, you can play Super Aggressive Smoke, you can play Ball Midas, you can play Positioning Midas that helps your team like get ready for those takeouts and more up tempo. And Soma Numa seems really fun as well. So I think Alchemists are in a really great spot to whatever you think looks cool. I think any beginner could start learning that captain with Alchemists if they're committed to learning.
Yeah, for sure. The one, if we were to talk about some things to be aware of when you're first when you first sign on with Alchemist, be aware that we're not the toughest guild. We're probably the squishiest guild. We don't really have tough hide. We don't have high armor, and our counterattacks are not the best. Our playbooks, if you really were wanting to play a team that's going to rely heavily on like playbook damage and momentum, probably not the guild for you, outside of a couple of exceptions. But yeah, those are the things that I would let people know immediately. So if you were just like, in that case, I came from Masons, because most of us started. I came from Masons to Alchemists, and I was like, well, can I, and I'm trying to work there. Where's the momentous 2-on-2?
Oh,
right? Then Masons are famous for. No, you're not gonna get.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they're squishier on the squishier side for sure. I don't think they're squishy is, but they're definitely squishy. I think they do have some good counterattacks. I think there's a lot of push dodges in there that are pretty good. And as far as the resource game goes, like you're really forcing your opponent to spend a lot of momentum.
Yep.
So you're not like gaining a ton, but you're causing your opponent to spend it.
Yep.
And not necessarily always to heal. And so, they have to spend it to get rid of conditions, so you're not doing your jank moves. And then, they're running out of health and they're losing on that attrition game as well, because they're not spending their momentum to heal, they're spending it to clear. And that's always really nice.
That's a huge point for playing against Alchemists. Is don't, like, if you look at the poison condition in a vacuum, you're like, okay, that's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna take 2 damage at the end of the turn. What you might not realize playing against them is, that I can spend that on something really cool.
Yeah, it's like their version of heroic plays. Because instead of spending momentum, you're spending the enemy's condition or your own.
Or your own. Yeah.
Or your own. So it's crazy to think it's like, as a newer player fighting against Alchemists, it actually might be smart to see what activations are left on the table to see what character you need to heal the conditions from.
Yep.
Because essentially that's, unlike momentum where you can't deny it unless you're Obelisk. It's like, you can deny the Alchemists of this resource. And that's only from, the crazy thing is I think only experienced opponents would know that. And to see where in the activation order your opponent is, like, he's only got 2 activations left, and one is like calculus or combi, and you're like, well, which one do I want to deny? And you've got like 3 poisons out there. So it's interesting to note from, let's say you're an opponent of an Alchemist player and you're watching this to get some info. That might be where you want to start, is learn all the jank they can do with the conditions and then reverse engineer it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cool. So what would you say, now that we know Midas, and he's got so many nuances to him where he could be the baller, he can support by using Touch of Gold and all that. Like, would you say he's sort of like, well, me and Kev made this assessment the other day where it was like, Honor is sort of the like middle,
the
like
balance captain.
And the balance captain does a little of everything. And is really good to learn. Now, where would you place Soma and Smoke? How would you place those two in comparison?
This is still tough, because like Kevin was saying earlier, you can still play the other captains
it's so good.
in different game plans. You can still play them aggressively or defensively. I would say if you were wanting to play more defensively, then obviously Smoke, you're going to lean more towards the Smoke side of things. Where you're playing a more controlled, a slower game, maybe a little bit more takeout focused, and then you're aligning up a weird angle goal towards the end of that game. If you're playing Soma, it's really about, Soma starts off as almost as a pure support style captain. So he's gonna buff your squaddies early game, get things set up, and then when it's time to go in and put in that final hurt, switch over to Numa, and then you've got this crazy beast on the board that's going to score your probably your finishing takeout.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think what Smoke's kick stat
Smoke's still a solid kick. She's a
Yeah.
4-6. She's a good, I refer to that as interior passer.
Yeah.
If you're a 4-6, if you engineer players will know that they have a lot of 4-6 and where it's, you can get passes in tight. But the other thing about Smoke is her threat range is incredibly hard to gauge.
Yeah, the
Because of her cloud jump, and just because of some of the access she has to squaddies, it can be very difficult to
stop
get
her.
as a Smoke player. You'll see, I have a goal on the board, and the other player may not see it at all.
Yeah, and it's that crazy how much like Cloud Jumper gives her just all that movement that she can do, and that Chemical Breeze. And it's interesting that Midas is the only one that has, is it 4? Yeah, 4-8.
Yeah, 4-8. Yeah.
Everyone else is either 3-6 or 4-6 on your captain side. Now, we'll go with mascots first, just because I feel like that's the easier of the two things that we're gonna go into here. I that's good. Yeah. So where would you? Let's say we're gonna start with the new player perspective here, and then we're gonna move to maybe experienced player. Which mascot would you recommend for a beginner? And then now that you've kind of learned how to play the guild, where would you switch it up?
That's such a hard question. It almost depends on. Okay, it depends on what you want to do with your mascot. If we're just starting out of the gate, I guess I would recommend Flask just because he can help correct for certain errors you might make in allocating influence.
Sure. Yeah, for the free, was it Beaker Keeper
is fantastic.
It's so cool.
But then to just counter myself, you might play Alchemist lineups for Beaker Keeper next to you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is like,
so be aware that if you're gonna take like Beaker Keeper's ideal for characters like say Ocal or Mercury.
Yep.
He's ideal for that.
Mercury.
But if you're not running that lineup, and if you have Tommy out there,
true. You're like
can't benefit from Beaker Keeper. If you have Venom, can't benefit from Beaker Keeper. But that said, I would say probably a little easier to use and understand.
Yeah. He's also got a 2
playbook.
2 playbook double
Is
momentum.
he attacking anyone?
Off player.
But the point of the Alchemist mascots is their influence efficiency. You're not really loading either one of these up. But yeah, Beaker Keeper is probably the easiest thing to just explain to a new player. You're going to do this. If somebody attacks a robot, he's going to blow up, and that's also very good for you.
That's true. Yeah, condition throwing out there.
Yep. And so you're doing Beaker Keeper. You might be good for a crowd out here or there. Just get in his way. But if speaking of getting in people's way, the snake is much better.
Reach still, right? Or do you
Reach
still got reach on
Naja.
I like how we still universally use reach. Like, that's a War Machine term. It's too much melee.
That's too
But everyone says reach.
I made a whole video on that, didn't even realize. It's just too much melee.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, I'm looking at Naja, and I personally think I would take him more often if I was playing.
I take more Naja way more often.
I feel like the mascots, like you touched on, it's a lot more squatty focused rather than captain focused. So it's not like, I'm taking Smoke, so I'm always taking one of these. It's kind of like you kind of have to have an idea in your mind of who you want to draft on your squad. And I feel like Naja works better with more of the squaddies than Flask does. I feel like you have to have like a plan in mind when you're using Flask of who you're going to draft.
Yeah, and the unpredictable move on a 2-inch model is
it's a great place to hide the ball.
Yeah,
if you're,
so good.
if you need to kill the ball for a little
With
bit.
hypnosis.
with him tackle onto
Yeah.
you. It's pretty hard to, and test subject too is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I tend to play Naja pretty opportunistically.
Yeah.
Most of the game he is there to provide a crowd out. But if I have that condition, I'm gonna throw a hypnosis out.
Yep.
Just to and
See what happens.
see what happens. If it lands, fantastic. Or sometimes I want a momentum. I'll do the same thing. Pull a condition. Try to get. He's got a decent playbook.
Yeah, he has the hypnosis
And
on
poison.
too.
Yeah.
Which is
poison out.
and it's a guaranteed hypnosis with the 6-inch range. So
Yeah.
you can hit one guy and then hypnosis the person you really want to go for.
Yeah. Now here's the awful thing you can do.
Yes.
With Naja, and this is against Butcher's players. It's
Yes.
super mean.
Yeah.
If you can go, if you see Obor
Yes.
on the other side of the board, you can go up with Naja, get into
Melee range.
melee range, and just hypnosis
And
him.
he's useless.
And that's a completely useless activation for butchers, and it's awful. I've done it to people. Sorry, the people I've done it to. But yeah, the snake is really good at just getting in people's way, and in some cases can really shut down models with hypnosis. So
An unpredictable move, because looking at his weaknesses, it would be like maybe the 6 HP, but 5+ defense with unpredictable. It's kind of hard to argue that. So now that we've gotten captains, mascots, we're gonna go into what I think is the meat.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty much every guild, but I think for alchemists especially, with how many different ways their captains can play, humongous. Where would you want to start the squad?
Well, let me first say this. So right now, a lot of alchemists are talking about kind of the same lineup, and that's fine. We can do that, or you can play Compound, who is like kind of his own play style.
That's the goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's that goalkeeper kind of denial play style. I will just upfront tell you, I almost never play that particular play style. So if you want to learn that play style,
I'll take other videos. You like smoking, you just like Compound, and you're like, ball up near your goal, and
To me, alchemists are a drafter's dream.
Yes.
Because every pick, almost, we'll get into a couple that I don't like, but every pick is like a technical pick for me when I'm building my team. So I guess where I'll start is I'll go through how I build a team. Okay.
I will stay on the draft too. Like, no matter what combination of captain and squatty, if you have or mascot, if you see one mascot, if you see both, if you see 2 captains, if you see one, no matter the combination, you're not thinking, wow, that's a weird pick. You know, you're always like, oh, that makes sense. If you're soloing Numa, like that's fine. If you're soloing Smoke, that's fine. If you're doing Midas Smoke or Midas Soma Numa, like every draft I see of Alchemist, I'm like, yeah, that looks fine. Like, it works.
Yep.
It's compared to Brewers.
And you can make you can make things work, even with the models that I'm gonna say I almost never pick.
So let's get into the squads.
Would you want to start with the models you would never pick, or go with how you would build your squad?
Let's go with how I build the squad.
Cool.
Okay. So let's say, well, for me, I'm a goal scoring coach. I love to score goals. It's one of my favorite things. So my favorite game plans are typically 2-2 or 3-0. I did play a 1-4 last week with Midas, which was a little weird. But yeah, we'll get into that. That was kind of cool. So let's go with, one of my priorities is going to be, I want the ball. I want to be able to move it around, score goals, that sort of thing, right? So I usually have what I consider the ball package players, right? The top 2 being really Kami and Crucible.
100%.
I was just talking about that today. These are the 2 players, in my opinion. You've got some of the best ball retrieval tech in the game. Especially if you put them both down. It's amazing. Let's start with we'll start with Crucible, who is generally again, a lot of people consider her an auto pick. I don't necessarily, but I mean, it's hard to argue against it. So she's got the 2-inch range, 2-inch melee range, which is already good. Alchemists don't have a lot of access to that.
Striker with 2 inches, good.
Right, striker with 2-inch 3-8 kick, insane.
3-8 kick, right? So striker.
Viable
dodge.
Slash sometimes free.
Right? Crazy.
She caps out at 3 influence, which isn't great, and she's got terrible defense. But don't worry, we're gonna make up with that with all the other stuff that she has. Not only does she have acrobatic, which is a viable dodge, but she also has the ability she's got reactive solution, so she can get that for free. That's normally not the play I'm buying for free though, with Crucible. She has arguably one of the most powerful abilities in the game, which is Great Balls of Fire. This is a disgusting thing. It terrifies opponents just knowing, okay, that's on the board. That means that all of my fancy ball killing on models is not great. Close control. If I've got, if it's resilience, you can pop that with another ability. But Great Balls of Fire, if you have like 3 armor and you've got the ball buried on iron, for example, I'm gonna Great Balls of Fire from 4 inches away, give you the burning condition, and then that ball's mine.
Yep.
So that with a 6/8 and a viable dodge makes her one of the craziest ball threats, especially when kicking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's not even the reason why you kill her. That's not why you kill Crucible. Even if you're not, because if you might not be a ball team, you're like, so what? She can take the ball, no big. The reason you kill Crucible is her horrible momentum tax on conditions. I forget the name of that ability, but it's basically if your models are within 4 inches of her and you want to clear conditions or rest or what's it called?
Pick me up.
Yeah.
It's an additional momentum.
Yeah. Convalescence, I think.
Covalence. Yeah.
Covalence.
So it's such a gross ability and it catches people at some of the most critical times in the game. It's won me a bunch of games because people forget about it. Like, oh, I'm just gonna clear this condition. No, you're not. You don't have. Yeah, you don't have.
What's an easy decision to clear or heal for 2 becomes an agonizing decision when you're like, oh, it's actually 3, and you're like, well, crap. I only have 3 momentum, and I really wanted that one for something else.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is the way that, because it's like Alchemists don't really gain that much momentum.
No, not really.
So this is the way that you can kind of it goes with the sort of the tax that you're giving the other player, as far as like, now here's conditions and now you have to pay double for the conditions, and it's cutting their momentum but keeping yours like solid because this is free. And it's insane. Like, I don't, how many heroics do the Alchemist Guild have? Only a couple.
It's only a couple. No, yeah.
And so it's like they're all their stuff is basically based off of not momentum but conditions or just free, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Also, I also want to mention with Crucible is that when she does damage, she applies burning and poison, which is disgusting. Which makes even, you know, if you're it can make counterattacks very valuable even if you can't get out.
It's just
because you're just gonna I'm just gonna do 1 and here you go 2 conditions, and guess what? It's gonna cost you an extra momentum. You want to get rid of it,
or you gotta activate next and you gotta use that condition.
Exactly.
Something.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of reasons to kill this particular model.
And she's 4-0 and has no life.
4-0 and
double dodge on 3 too. Oh
my
god.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got the double dodge on 3.
Double dodge on 3, and she does have a momentum 2, which is actually kind of a bonus.
Yeah.
You don't really play for it, but it's nice if you can get momentum and put a couple of conditions out. So yeah, fantastic model. She's almost in every single one of my drops.
Great sculpting.
Yeah.
Amazing.
A lot of fun.
And then Kami, you said?
Kami.
Yes.
Okay. So this was the model
We started on Kami.
when she first came out. We didn't understand her. We didn't think she was very good. We're like, what is this model? It's the 4 attack and
like
the 5-0. What does this do? But really, Kami she's gonna give you some of the weirdest angles that you'll see in the game, and she has a crazy threat on the ball. Probably the first things that are gonna pop out, right? She's a 7-9 jog. Attack is not great, but 5-0 defense, and then she's got a 3-6 kick, which is in Alchemist terms not impressive. But don't worry. They're good.
The quintessential Alchemist. Like, you look at their stats and then you say, but don't worry.
If you're just playing this as a flat model, okay, maybe not so good. But when you realize what the model actually does, you're like, yeah, 3-6, that's plenty for what I need. So her big thing is she has basically a character play all throughout her playbook. She gets to add that guild ball to whatever she gets on her playbook. She has anatomical precision, so she's getting around some armor. And that single play is fantastic. She's going to do a condition damage and a condition of her choice, burning or poison. Okay. The really nice thing about it is there's a 6-inch range on.
Yes.
So what you can do, one of the best things to do with her is if there's a high defense model, you just pick that lower defense person that's nearby and just start pumping some bullets. And she's got good momentum throughout her playbook with a bunch of dodges.
Oh yeah.
So that's really nice. She also has the other really nice ball technique in the game, which is kill the ball. Right? I think you only see kill the ball in like blacksmiths and think that's
Hunters have a way of getting it too, where it's like they skewer the ball.
Yeah, you have
Puncture, I think.
Yeah,
Different
it's
things.
like-
Engineers have something
engineers
like
have Salvo has a he can yoink the ball, but kill the ball is fantastic too. Let's say you're playing denial game and you're receiving. Well, you don't even have to leave the line sometimes.
Yeah.
You just kill the ball, and the other guy's gonna sit there starve for momentum, and you kind of. Again, I don't play like that, but you could do that.
You could.
It's this also means that for the opposing player to put the ball in a part of the pitch where they don't think you can get. Now you can get to it.
Yeah.
Right.
So what you're saying is
So-
you can't hide a ball on a model because Crucible's there, and you can't hide it in a corner because Kami's there.
Yep.
Correct.
For all.
That's what.
So again, that's why this is the ball package. Take both of these models, and your opponent is going to have a really rough time trying to kill a ball. The other thing about her is she can basically teleport to models who have
Yeah, no big deal.
So,
Just
so
teleport, yeah.
you think about a model that's got 7/9 move.
Yeah.
It's got a teleport and can kill a ball.
It makes her not only fantastic but incredibly fun.
Yeah.
Like, she's just like a really fun model to play and super strong. So it's like I feel like you see her in almost every lineup.
Yep.
Because
You're gonna see her.
Yeah.
Great mini as well.
and awesome mini.
Insane mini. Crucible and Kami are probably some of the coolest, I think. In the whole game, not only just the kill.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, like, who else has guns?
That's the Scarecrow for sure. He's
Oh,
the coolest model in the game.
Who else has guns? Who has guns in the game? Let's be real.
Oh man, there was such during the pre-cities draft.
Yeah.
In the Alchemist community, there was such a huge argument about whether or not we're taking Nomad or Kami.
Yeah.
And man, and I was posting memes every week, like with some guy with like a guitar. You want this guy? Or this girl has a team.
Yeah.
Who do you want on your team?
I feel like in that, like everyone wanted the girl with the guns, right?
Yes.
Like every
Yeah.
team wanted guns. On their
Except
team.
Alchemists were like, we're not sure.
So, like, yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. Nomad's fantastic. I actually love him a lot. Engines are one of my other main teams. But no, I think we made the right.
Oh,
All right. So we pick our captain. We picked our ball package. Now the rest of this falls into two kind of larger categories. We got to have a beater,
Yes.
and it's nice to have a battery of some sort. So we'll start with batteries first. Okay, because the batteries will do different things. And we'll start with Calculus. Okay, she's one of the best batteries. The reason why, again, Calculus or stat line, very average across the board. If you were to ask Team Forge, like when we start designing a human model, first 5'8" move, 5 attack,
14 late.
4-1 defense, 3-6 kick.
That's,
Right? That's the baseline. She's very boring and uninteresting in that part of her card. That's fine. Her playbook also maybe not the most interesting either. But you know, it's kind of nice. You've got
GB on two.
you've got a dodge on one. And then you've got your cool Guild Ball for your Noxious Blast on 2. Again, not really gonna use this stuff very often. What you're really gonna use with Calculus is her character plays, and both of her character plays are very good. Noxious Blast I just called out. It's a 2-cost play. I almost never pay that. I almost never have influence on her. I maybe have 1 on her. And so it's a nice AoE for 2 damage and poison. And you're going to use that for different things. It's again generally not. I generally don't buy it off the playbook. But she also has whatever it's called, reactive solution, where she can pull a condition to get a free play. So you might be pulling a fire or a burning off somebody just to get that
Noxious Blast, yeah. And it's, it's crazy because you're netting off of that. You pull one condition to put maybe 2 or 3 out.
Yep.
It's insane how it's like, and then damage too.
So again, with the Alchemist build, you buy a condition, maybe put more out, and it's kind of this rolling economy that you've got. Okay, well I've got other conditions on other models now I can pull for those. Her other play is blind, which is I don't even have to explain it. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
explain.
it's super good.
Blind is super good.
One of the best in the game.
One of the best one-cost character plays, like in the category of goad, where if like it hits, it can be like changed
That's it.
the whole tide of the entire game.
And you just bonus time it, and you're like 2 dice.
But I never have to worry about it when
I never hit blind.
because he's never, he never hits it.
I never hit blind.
Defense 3 is defense 7.
Which
for
is
Octo.
fine. That's true. That is sadly true.
Yeah.
Sadly, you watched me play the game the other day where I think I was throwing blinds on like defense 2 there.
Defense 3 and 2, yeah.
Too, and I'm like,
You got a
I'm
1
like,
on roast, and you got a 2 on spice.
yeah, I just could not land a blind.
Or sugar, yeah.
So don't worry about my dice rolls, but that's a great play, especially if you can get it for free.
Yeah.
You just walk up
It's
and
worth bonus timing if you
It's worth
if
bonus
for free. You just
Mhm.
bonus time it if you need to hit, that defense 4 model. Yeah.
Another Beaker Keeper.
another Beaker Keeper target,
Target.
maybe not as optimal as Mercury
Yeah,
because
Mercury's
she can get so much stuff for free.
Mhm.
But yeah, she's just a great kind of value battery. She's really not gonna do many amazing things during the game other than those blinds. When the blind lands,
Yeah.
it really is game altering. So,
I don't know. Like, she's a very efficient piece. I wouldn't call her
Yeah.
I feel like the batteries are the models that could put conditions on themselves, and then you can just like pull them.
yeah, which
Yeah.
That's the other side. That's where
Other
we're going
side of the
to.
battery.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's part of that package, but also when you talk about and Kevin just alluded to this, so a lot of times you may want to have a condition available that's reliable that you can pull from as part of your opening plan, right? And so in Alchemist, there's really 2 models that are going to do that. They're gonna help fuel some of your abilities, but they're also decent pieces in their own right. So we'll start with my main man,
Vernon?
Venom.
I call him Vernon or Vern, the most hilarious character in the fluff.
His
You
lore
need
is
to
so
read
funny.
Ben and Fluff. He's hilarious.
It is all sad. It's like not in the sense of like, my dad hates me. It's like, I hate my dad.
I'm gonna strangle this guy and break my ankle. Like, he's awesome.
That's why he's 3-6 kick.
Vern is
He
so
broke
cool.
his ankle.
Love Vern.
Incompetent edgelord.
Great lore to read.
So Venom he's a little bit quicker, right? He's a 6'8". Again, kind of average stats, 4-1 across the board the rest of the way.
But don't worry.
Don't worry,
there's more.
we're gonna fix that.
Yeah.
We'll get into his playbook in a second, which is actually deceptively good.
Yes.
It doesn't look good when you're looking at Tac 5 and you're looking down at the board and go at his playbook going.
But wait. But wait.
And then he has a single character play, Acid Rain, which is basically just a way to burst out poison, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what he lives and dies on, is the ability to take on poison himself, which he can do once per turn. That's him being the battery, so you reliably have a poison condition on the board. You have somebody Kami can teleport to. You've got a bunch of free character plays if you want to use that at any point of the turn. And while he's poisoned, he goes up by 1 armor, putting him at an impressive 4-2.
Honestly, like I'm always expecting to like go up and murder an squatty. I get up to Venom and he's always like that 4-2 armor. That really makes a difference, man. He's pretty tanky.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Venom is surprisingly tanky. The other thing that's really cool about Venom is, well, there's a couple more things we haven't got to, but if he's attacking a poison model, now he's +2 attack. So you're looking at that playbook going, oh hey,
Yeah.
I got momentous damage.
Yep.
I can continue to burst poison out.
Yep.
He can take people down on a properly set up like a poison target. I've been able to 1-round people with him because you're gonna do momentous damage down to a point, and then you're gonna generally finish off with your heroic play.
Yes.
So one of the few heroic plays in Alchemist, and this is what's it? Coagulation. So 3-inch pulse, and enemy models that are suffering the poison condition take 3 condition damage.
Yeah. Ignore stuff hide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a
huge.
gross finisher.
Just the it's legendary.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And
no big deal.
it's not uncommon that you're taking out a couple of months
Yes.
with this heroic.
Set up properly for sure.
Because a lot of times I may have a model that's low, and I'm beating on another model, make sure they both have poison, and then boom.
Yeah.
And it's a nice
Or you end your turn with a couple models on 1-2 life after they take conditions, and you first activate Venom.
Yeah.
Blowing up 3 models. Like,
Yep.
And acid rain is 3 inches too.
Yep.
So your acid rain is 3 inches, and then also your coagulation is 3 inches. So it's like it just pure synergy. So what's your thoughts on, if we're talking about free condition models? What's your thoughts on the catalysts? Both
Okay.
O and
very different thoughts.
yes.
Very controversial thoughts.
Oh.
This is
divisive
This
thoughts.
is divisive among Alchemist players.
I mean, you need some
Okay.
spicy takes
I
to
don't know.
generate some.
So we're gonna stay on the battery side of this conversation
Okay.
for right now, and we're gonna go to O Catalyst. He's your other model that's gonna start the game with a condition. He's got the burning condition.
Yeah.
And O Catalyst, people, there are folks that really like him. There are folks that think he's basically just a consolation prize for VCAT. Just depends. So O Catalyst, he actually has a pretty impressive stat line. He's a 6/8 move with tack 6 out of the gate. The 3/1 defense isn't great, but he does have a lot of boxes.
Oh yeah. 24.
So you have a lot to deal with there. The thing about O Catalyst is, while he has the burning condition, he's going to gain +2 tack. So you're effectively tack 8 most of the time. You have a reliable momentous knockdown on 2, one of the rare knockdowns that exist in Alchemists. We've got enough conditions going on as there is, but he's a good model for doing stuff like that too. I think what people argue about is the external combustion and how useful that is. Yeah, it's useful. You can get a bunch of conditions out and that sort of thing. I used to put him in a lot of lineups with, we'll say, unrealistic expectation of OCAT. Yeah, he has effectively access to 3 momentous damage with the combustion and a push. But if you're putting 4 on him and you're gonna do that, it's not that much damage at the end of the day. So you're not really taking him for burst damage. You're taking him more for utility. You're gonna get the knockdown. But 1-inch melee range means he's just gonna get victimized a lot. He's gonna get beat up a lot. And that's one of the things. Yeah, that's one thing, you can give him to a new player and they'll look at that and go, oh wow, I can do a bunch of damage with him. Trap.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, actually.
Yeah. So these days, you can put him in, but really the expectation is he'll get some knockdown.
Yeah, I think he's just like this control piece. He has, he's got the internal kick stat, so he can still be your kicker. He can get up, he can throw some knockdowns, some pushes, which you don't have a lot of pushes in Alchemist.
Yep,
Oh, true.
He's not what you're taking for takeout. He's generating your fire, he's getting knockdowns, he's maybe an internal pass here or there. And I feel like that's what he's doing. If you want to kill some models, you want that to contribute to your win condition, you got to be taking pretty much VCAT. Soganuma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now so those are the batteries. We can leave those choices. These days, Venom and I tend to lean more towards Venom and Calculus than OCAT.
Yep.
Mainly because you can get knocked down, but it's not. Alchemist game plans don't really rely.
And they can they hold the KD condition in any situation?
No, the only conditions they can act on are
Burning and poison.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of hard to sell.
Imagine
Yes.
pulling your own knockdowns to get free.
That would be
No, the dream is to pull a snare.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
And with all Alchemist players, we all suffer from snare envy.
Yes.
Okay, because we're like, that condition is like way better than our condition, and snare is a really amazing condition.
This
So
one.
that's that over there.
All right, so we can leave batteries and we'll move on to beaters.
Yeah.
Right. So there's really two.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's really one.
Yeah,
There's really one, and then there's the other one. We'll start with the other one because he's actually a good model for beginners to understand the condition game and how to control like areas of the board or how to beat down people and gain a bunch of momentum if that's what you're trying to do. So Mercury is, again, average stats across the board, nothing really to be proud of there. But his character plays they're pretty good. He's got the Fire Blast play, which is basically his burning AoE 2 damage. You know, it's pretty standard stuff. It's got a good reach though, and it's a good way. It's a good way to control the board. You know, it's a little more hyped up version than a Molotov.
Yep.
And that's a good target for Beaker Keeper. So you're gonna Beaker Keeper that. You can Beaker Keeper that. His other ability, Fireball,
Yes.
is pretty cool.
Super cool.
Yes.
It's viable off the playbook only, but it's on the second column of his playbook. So you're gonna get to that, and it's momentous. So you're gonna get to that pretty reliably. Used to use Mercury a lot for going after high target or high defense targets. Next to you.
Yes.
But guess who else can do that? Kami.
That's
Can also do that. But Mercury can, you know, he's just got that little bit extra burst damage to him. Not really much efficiency to his. He's not pulling any conditions. He doesn't have reactive solution or anything like that. But he does have the burning spirit, which is nice. So if you come into him, you're going to take the burning condition within 2 inches. So again, just a nice piece to kind of help control parts of the board, apply some conditions, and he can finish people off if you have things properly set up and he goes into a target where
you have a knockdown 2 defense model, and he can go into someone and just start blasting those.
I've killed a lot of, mainly like, because I normally will target the 5 defense over there, because they have lower health,
like
and
10 to 12 HP.
Yeah, so they don't they're not going to see that coming.
Yeah,
unless they've played against Mercury.
Reliable 8 damage, pretty much if you full clip them. So and that's scary. And then now they've got the conditions on them, which can do another 3 damage.
Yeah.
So it's like now you're getting real close to that blinking health bar. and so the next.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move. So yeah, you can play Mercury early on to kind of understand the condition.
It's like the memes, the Chad V-Cat versus
but now
Sad Boy Mercury.
Yeah. So now if we're talking beaters in Alchemist, this is your ultimate squatty beater.
Yeah.
V-Cat. All right. So V-Cat, the first thing you'll see is he's TAC 8 out of the gate.
First thing you'll see is he's swole.
You've
can't see people up.
You've got this gigantic, 50 mil model. But yeah, TAC 8, crappy defense 2-1. Again, same boxes as OCAT. So he's a bit of a victim, but 2-inch reach.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But you gotta keep him out of trouble. But when you do hit people,
you hit them
bad. You're looking at his playbook. It's 7 long, so on an 8 tack. So he's got a brewer's playbook.
Yeah.
He's got a reliable knockdown on 2. You shouldn't have to use that. It's kind of sad if you do. I roll crap, so sometimes I do have to use it. But what you're really trying to get out to is the 5th column.
Yes.
Which is ground pound. Again, one of the more disgusting things in the game. It's basically a 2-inch area knockdown on a 50 mil.
Yeah. And it's not once per turn.
And it's 2 damage, but guess what? It's actually 3 damage.
Yes.
We're gonna get into that.
And viable if you need it. Like
you could just walk in.
You could start your turn. There's low models around you after they take all their conditions. Use ground pound, get some momentum on those takeouts, and call it a day.
His reach as far as like how far he can get up the board with Midas is very scary.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit specifically about cool stuff you could do with Midas and V-Cat, and that's why Midas is suddenly so popular.
Yes,
because of the shenanigans you can pull there. So V-Cat has the toxicity rule, which means, venomous strike, which means he's doing damage to you. He's applying the poison condition. Okay, that's cool. What's cool about that is the burst of fumes ability, which is anytime he's doing damage. Anybody within, I think it's 2 inches of
2
him,
inches,
is gonna just take a condition damage.
Yeah, ignore stuff.
Yeah, and you're bursting out poison all the time.
Yes.
And ground pound is more than once per turn. So add all of that up, and you've got
toxicity.
Yeah, and you've got a model that every time they're hitting, they're basic if they are getting out there, which you can do on a properly set up model. you're doing an insane amount of area damage, but it's also high enough to be single target burst.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
When you do inevitably take out your model, you are going to have Witness Me, which is nice. So now your momentum gain, you're going to gain two bonus momentum for takeouts. So there's a lot of cool stuff that happens in a catalyst activation.
Yeah.
But again, what I have to tell people when they're learning him is he is a victim. Do not throw him out there hoping for good things. You have to really protect him until it's time for him to come in and do his thing. You'll know. You'll know when things are set up and you know, and you're ready to go in. He's gonna put in
I feel
an
like
insane amount of work.
He's just like a disgusting model to bottom top people too.
Yes.
Because
Yep.
like you just go in, you're just like chipping area damage all around, and you're just like setting up some jails, and then you get the momentum because he's beating on people, and then you start the turn, and then it's 2 takeouts pretty easily.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you get like 6 momentum on the top of turn 3 or maybe top of turn 2 if you really play it well.
Yeah. So staying on BCAP for a second. All right, so we go back to Midas really quick. Midas has a couple of really nice tools to assist with VCAT. One is Lure of Gold, right?
Yes.
So you can keep VCAT out of the engagement, keep him out of harm's reach until it's time. Then Lure of Gold basically just instantly will change his threat range, and suddenly your opponent's like, oh,
Yeah, there he
in
is.
play.
Yeah.
Very much
There
in
he
play.
is.
You can also do that with Soma's ability too, to give him some dodges. I find it's just not quite as effective as having Midas because the Soma activation tends to be earlier in the turn. So that's one thing Midas can do.
And
The other thing Midas can
Making
do
a dodgy boy.
for VCAT, and I did this last week.
you just
Horrible. Is when Midas pops his legendary. He's gonna do poison and fire to all enemy models within 6. Also, all friendly models within 6 are gonna gain Midas's really, really cool ability, Fulmination. That is my favorite ability in the Alchemist, maybe in the game, where you're gonna pull a burning or a poison off a model within 4, and then you just get to add a dodge
yes.
to anything
Anything.
on your playbook.
Yeah. Dodge
Okay.
ground pound.
Yes.
Dodge ground.
So that's what we're getting to. So I was playing a game where we had this, we had a scrum center of the board. VCAT was way out of the play. He wasn't considered a factor.
Yeah.
I had 3 of them. And you come in, so I came around, I scored a goal with Midas, and I came all the way around to this side of the board, lured him up, and then legendary. Right? And then just kind of stood, just crowd out. I'm just gonna stand right here. It'll be fine. And so VCAT goes, lands the ground pound dodge.
Yeah.
So now models that were out of the range of the ground pound are now in the range of the ground pound. And I did this 3 times. Ground pound, dodge, ground pound, dodge, ground pound, dodge. So this scrum that was there, everybody's on the ground. People have taken between 6 and 9 damage. Started the next
Even
turn.
more because you're
Then they're taking the double condition damage.
Double condition damage.
Then the next turn goes and it's just like 4 takeouts immediately.
Was that the 1-4 game you played?
Yeah.
Was it at top of turn 3 that you ended the game, or top of
I think that was it turn 3? I think it was turn 3.
turn 3? Yeah.
Were you playing? What team were you playing against?
I was playing against Mortician.
Mortician. Nice.
So it was
It was messy.
that's the gross thing.
Minus
Again,
lures of legendaries
Yeah,
and scalpels. It was at that moment.
so yeah, VCAT is really he is an insanely gross beater. And it's a reason why you'll see him dropped a lot these days. He'll just be in a lot of teams. But again, my main caution is you're gonna learn. You have to know when to turn him on and when to keep him out of the fight, because he is a victim.
2-1.
Because you're gonna just be like, here's 8 momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the scary thing. Now we've gone through. Oh, sorry, go for it.
Yeah. So no, it's fine.
Oh,
Okay.
we've gone through all the captains. We've gone through the mascots.
We've strikers, I think, right?
Yeah.
Did-
Basically strikers.
We already talked about Kami and Crucible.
Yeah,
but-
we
Right.
haven't talked about V-Calc or Vitriol.
Vitriol. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Here we
Well,
go.
fly little smile.
So- All right. So VCalc. Ooh.
Not so hot right now. I feel like
Yeah.
people aren't
Okay,
people aren't hyped about VCal.
if I'll put it to you this
She's
way.
cool, though.
If VCalc was a mortician,
Yes.
you'd see her a lot.
Yeah.
She kind of has cool abilities. A 3/8 on Morts, they would love that.
Yeah.
The ability to throw a sticky bomb, which is an AOE, basically movement debuff. Pretty cool.
Pretty good.
Not snare
and,
though.
and she has a viable dodge in the form of a condition. So she's got a 4-inch, like basically where they go
for free.
by pulling a condition, and then she's got the spillage rule. She kicks the ball, then she
Poison
can
everywhere.
spread poison. All of this sounds cool,
Yes.
but
Not.
none of it is cool compared to the other squaddies that we talked about, and it's sad. And I don't with Guild Ball. One of the things that I don't like to talk to people in absolutes because there is a use for kind of.
It's crazy because when I started Guild Ball, like Flint was like the G. You know,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I have a viable 4-inch dodge.
Yeah.
I'm 8-inch sprint, 8-inch kick. That's crazy, and that's what she has. But it's kind of like, you know, like-
Yeah, it's a slot in Alchemists that there are too many good squaddies
Yeah.
that do the same thing for better or more efficiently. So she's not, and I think the model's cool too,
It is cool.
and the lore is pretty cool. She needs work.
I feel like
guys.
there's
Come
one
on, community,
captain-
Guild Ball community, we can fix it.
better.
We can get her back in some lineups.
I feel like there's one captain who just really doesn't need her. It's probably Midas too, and
Yeah.
you play Midas a ton, and
Yeah.
so you probably don't use her. You don't try to use her a lot because you really just don't need her
Yeah,
when you're playing Midas. But
and compared to Ocalc, who is just so efficient,
yeah,
like blind,
Yeah.
not blind. I don't know. What would you pick, right? So, so sadly, VCalc not in a great spot right now. Probably not being picked. The other striker model is Vitriol, which actually does get picked a lot. But I used to run her all the time.
all the time.
But she hasn't been seeing the table for me lately, mainly because ball package is so good.
It's Kami.
And-
Kami Crucible.
and VCat's doing his thing, and usually that other spot there is actually my tech pick. So I don't these days, right? Vitriol, she's got the 4/8 kick, which is awesome. 2-inch reach again, rare in
Push
Alchemist. Push dodge on 2. These are all good things. She's got
7-9.
clone.
7-9.
She has crazy
Clone.
good threat
Can
range.
get furious. Like,
Yep, you can pull a condition within 4. So
seems amazing.
so these are all really good things, and I really wouldn't argue anity that's wanting to drop her.
Mhm.
I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that I used to like to do with her would be if she's kicking or if she's receiving, she's one of the better models to drag a model back
Yeah.
and jail them.
Yes.
Or you can also just buy your heroic
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just spread out conditions.
Mhm.
So she's good for that. And then clone is nice too if you're really in a bind and you need to get out of something.
Mhm.
You can buy your clone and just walk out. That's pretty nice too. So I'm not saying she doesn't have her uses. It's just you don't see her in a lot of my Midas.
Mhm.
She's a good. I think it's a great character, but you're right. It's like she lacks some.
Yeah.
It's like
Mhm.
Kami gives you a bunch of things you can do, and then Crucible also not only is a great ball threat, but gives you that sticky conditions where it's hard to get rid of. Vitriol, amazing kicker, amazing
Mhm.
striker. However, it's like there's more better package deals when we're talking about like usefulness to the entire guild.
Yeah, but a lot of players will use Vitriol
She's
because
great,
it's
yeah.
another
Yeah.
2-inch reach model.
Yeah, push dodge.
It'll help
I
with
mean,
crowd outs, helps with crowd control, with the
Yeah.
push dodge.
Fantastic.
So again, I'm not going to argue. People, she's still on my 12. I
Yeah.
just haven't been dropping her recently.
Now, what would you say? Like, we'll say closing thoughts and synergies. What would you do? Like, let's say new player synergies,
Okay.
And then Sergis, you pulled yourself, but we kind of talked about that. Or like, what would you say would be good closing thoughts on Alps in general?
On Alchemist. You're starting Alchemist, and this is my own personal failing, you know. You will have to be patient. You will have to be patient. You'll start off with kind of slower games at first. You're gonna look at your character plays and you're gonna be like, man, that sounds so cool. How do I use that effectively? And the first couple of times out, you're gonna throw your Noxious Blast or your Fire Blast, and the opponent's gonna walk around, or they'll clear all their conditions after momentously beating one of your models. Yeah, that can be discouraging. But what you are gonna have to learn is you're gonna have to be patient with how you're developing your character plays, and then the specificity of your picks are crucial in this guild.
Yes.
You have to have a specific reason why you're dropping those particular squaddies. And you are going to have to learn like kind of the timing of the game and what your captains are supposed to do. If you're taking Midas to try to damage people or one round people, it's a bad call, right? If you're taking Smoke thinking that you're gonna just be able to outball people constantly, that's not a good call. So if you're gonna want to be specific through your roster. Kevin's general advice is pick a starting roster and really play into that roster. Learn it, figure out what do I need to add, and that's where you start shopping and you slowly build out your 12.
Yep.
And why.
Yeah, and
just don't take VCal, right? I'm sorry.
I've actually taken that philosophy too when it comes to new players. Is like choose 6 models.
Yeah. And
just play that for 10 to 15 games, and they're gonna be quick, right? Either you're gonna get maybe smashed, or you're gonna learn like it's maybe like a couple weekends, right?
Yeah.
To really learn that core and the kind of identity you want to play on, and then you slowly start getting the flex picks in there. I think if you start the game and you're like, oh well, I took this 6, I'm gonna try a new 6.
Yeah.
It's so hard to learn how to play Guild Ball well by just constantly shuffling.
That's part of the trap too. Is, when you're learning Guild Ball, you're gonna do a ton of research because we're nerds. You're gonna talk to these really skilled, really experienced players. Luckily, I'm not very skilled, so you can listen to me. My dice are bad. But they're gonna tell you things like, "Oh, you take this model when you're going into this," and you might be going, "Well, why?"
Exactly.
And it won't, especially with Alchemists, it's not gonna be completely apparent to you why you're dropping specific models in. So it is better to just pick a stick, stay with that. I still really like the philosophy of you have your captain mascot pick, and then you have your ball package, battery, your beater, striker, and kind of try to pick something from each of those categories, and then stick with them.
Yeah. And would you recommend, so for Alps, well, let's talk about a new Alp player. Would you say buy everything, choose your 6, and then stick with it? Because I think there's so many good pieces in like different.
That's there's not. You could play their the Lure of Gold box, but it's not gonna get you that far.
Yeah,
it's
that's what
really
I'm thinking.
I mean, the whole guild is 2 Space Marine boxes. You guys.
I'm just saying for new players, because
okay. So if you're a new player, I'll put it to you this way: if you're a new player, you're just kind of dipping your toe in the water, and you want to play Alchemist, it's not a bad approach. You could buy Lure of Gold and then buy the bench. Then you'll have access to Kami and Soma.
Kami and Soma gives you kind of a little bit.
But there's a third model in there. I forget her name.
What was it?
I don't know. But yeah.
Well, you start with a C, right? Yeah.
So that was kind of like, but specifically, what do you think the pros and cons are of the guild? Like, for people getting into it, I would think it's a fun second guild to get into for sure, because you see like all of the synergies, and about the game, and it's fun to learn. There's a lot to learn. So it's not like you're just going to come in knowing the game really well, that you're just going to pick up the guild really well.
Yeah, it's extremely rare to have somebody just walk into Alchemist and like, I'm good now. We're gonna what are the pros and cons of? I agree that they're probably a second guild. When you move to Alchemist, you probably are looking for I think you go in kind of expecting a more of a 2-2 style game, where like, yeah, I want to do some takeouts, but maybe you started at butcher, and you're, but I want to play a little bit more ball, but I still also really like some takeouts.
Yeah.
Or you still kind of have, no matter who you play in Alchemists, there's still just access to really nice goal threat everywhere. So that is going to be part of the allure. But the other part is, some people like that extra economy. They like that. I want to put conditions down and buy other abilities with them, and really have a ceiling or the capability for a higher ceiling build. I think that's the draw. It's not. And I just said dip your toe in the water. They're not really built like that.
Nope.
You're not really
You're going head first.
gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna play Alchemist, twice a year. It's not gonna happen. Or you're not gonna be very successful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
awesome. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Octave.
Lastly, sorry, I haven't played Lamplighters at all.
Oh yeah.
There's some crossover models there.
Right.
Yeah,
we didn't even
true.
cover
I
the
didn't
like-
think-
Lamplighters.
oh,
Like I don't even know what they do, but
I don't know either. Actually.
I know you tried them out.
I've tried them out. I'm still pretty new to the Lamplighters model, so I'll just get that disclaimer out of the way before people. Oh, you get this wrong.
This guy's the best.
The short of it is, at least from where they are at the time of this recording, I really feel like Phosphor is sort of Mercury on steroids. Because he has a lot of the same play that Mercury does. I've heard the argument that, like, why even bother taking Mercury, because you have Phosphor. Because he's doing dual conditions.
He's got like a Guild Ball on 2, right?
Yep.
Like
Guild
he
Ball
just
on
does
2.
the same thing.
Throws that AoE out.
He's
It's a
like
little shorter
Wario,
range.
you know.
Yeah.
Wario. God.
And then, and he also has that 2-inch aura too. He's got 2-inch reach.
Oh
So
wow!
already
Yeah.
that makes him better
Yeah, I would take
than
that for sure.
Mercury. So yeah, he's a fantastic model. He's gonna, and then think about him with VCAT.
Yeah.
That's a great setup too. If you're really playing the takeout game, Phosphor is great for that. He also has it's basically a viable free counterattack. Where you can, it's called Fulcrum, where you can take models in that range can counterattack.
With the condition.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I
I think he's just awesome like that.
He's just awesome.
Yeah. So Phosphor, frankly, I don't know. They're gonna probably look at that, because to me, he is basically just, you're picking Mercury but a better version.
Is there a team where you take him and Mercury and you just like double fireballing people? Or they kind of fill the same
They
role,
kind of
and
feel
it's hard
the
to-
only
yeah.
thing that Mercury does a little bit better is because he can buy his play and his play is sustained. You can put out. So if you're playing Smoke and you want an AoE out there, or you want a little control of the board, Mercury might be a little bit of a better pick.
He does just kind of seem like a better Mercury. No joke, yeah.
More like Fabio'd out. He's like, oh yeah.
And what's our other crossover?
The other crossover is named Heat, and she is a really cool model. Not gonna lie. She's got a like a 3/8 kick. She's got
I'm open.
She's got
I'm
one of
open
the
in
best
Alchemists.
ball plays
fun.
in the
Oh my
game.
God.
I'm open. Which
Did you do it for
excellent.
free somewhere?
I don't. Does she have reactive solution beyond the back?
Yeah, she does.
So you can
What?
put them
That's so
open for
cool.
free.
What the?
That's super nice. She also has the ability to heal, so she puts out a momentum healing aura.
Okay, yeah.
And then I forget her other ability. So most of the Lamplighters have one ability if they're suffering burning and one ability if they're suffering burning. I
That's
think if
pretty
she's
sick.
not,
Well, she's got
suffering burning,
unpredictable when
it's
she's
unpredictable.
not. Yeah. Nice.
Wait, is
And-
that double push dodge on 5?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just like, so it's like a condensed Midas playbook.
Is there a reason
So-
why they put the push dodges backwards on? I
don't know.
Yeah, usually it's
It
push
does look-
dodge. This
it
is
does
dodge
look
push.
odd.
Yeah.
But
Tackle
yeah,
push dodge. Yeah, it's a cool playbook.
so you could give her fulmination and do fun things with her as well. Fulmination is fantastic.
Yeah.
Fulmination on VCAT and Kami
yeah.
it's so good.
I don't know. She seems really fun. I would
Yeah.
play her. I would play her for sure. At least try her out.
I want to play her. I'm waiting for the errata / blessing.
Yeah. For
And
sure.
then for sure we'll see more of her in my own. a lot of fun. You could play some really crazy like 3-0 games with her.
Shout out to the community team for Lamplighters.
Yeah.
They're so sick. Nice job.
Lamplighters are super cool. I've painted them up, got them on the board, been playing them lately. I like the whole, we won't get into them because I don't know enough about them, but it's the whole lights on, lights off type thing where they have a set of abilities when they're not burning and other abilities when they are.
Very cool.
Really cool.
Yeah. Well,
Sweet.
Cool.
thank you so much, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And this is episode 3. And we're gonna get into episode 4, which is literally just gonna be right after this, where we're gonna talk about like community, what we've done in the community, and like what we will do in the future for the community now that Kill is back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we don't have to. But yes, thank you guys.
Cool.
It seems like you're leaving to go talk about games.
I know. That's see in her eyes. That's even worse.
That's worse than playing games.
Gonna talk.
I'm sitting on the side so I could like pop over here.
Oh no worries. I got a Ricola.
So normally when I talk a lot, I start. I don't know.
Gotcha, bro. All right. So, okay, music going. I see that.
Yeah.
Probably put on the hat. Inspiringly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't wear it. I'm not part of the club. I don't wear it.
That's okay. You're a guest.
That's true.
Don't worry. You have to wear it.
I have an extra one if you feel like the odd man out. All right. So you want any?
Oh yeah.
I got that.
A
Oh,
little
chilling.
caffeine for me. I'm good.
I'll pour some water.
No worries. I'm gonna indulge myself because I spent a lot of. I have way too many cookies and I'm on a diet.
You know, I used to drink these like 12 of these a day,
12?
and then now I like have like one of.
I don't think that's good for you.
No, it was not good for me. I quit, and then I'm like, I can have it.
Oh, so we got
Any
this good
community changes to Alchemists that I mean?
None.
Nothing really. No. No. The only thing, and we'll get into it, but the only thing that's really changed about Alchemists is people finally started exploring the roster
Right.
outside of the compound thing.
Yeah.
There's more like trends in like what the
I honestly
With
don't
the
remember
Alchemist
what Alchemist
community.
trends were happening before COVID, so.
it was basically you played the compound build, or Midas was not. He was
He was
Nick.
not the hotness.
He was Nick,
That's
and
right,
then
yeah.
and then during COVID, people were like, "Wait, this guy."
You mean you can make everybody jog?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah.